Hey guys, thank you for renting with Westland Campers. My name is Sergio and I'll be doing your walkthrough. So the first thing you're going to do when you get to the campsite is plug yourself into power if you do have shore power. If you don't, then you'll leave it alone. This is a 30 amp RV. Make sure you have a 30 amp connection at the campsite. If you end up with the 50 amp, you can still use it, but you'll need an adapter to go from 30 to 50. Now when you plug in, you'll be able to run the AC unit, the microwave, the power outlets, the TV, everything in the RV without having to run the generator. If you don't have hookups at the campsite, then you'll be using the generator to run pretty much everything. Those four things, you will need to have your generator on even if you're driving down the street. Now everything else will work off of the batteries as long as you have charge on those batteries. If you have a city water connection at the campsite, you're going to pull out your hose, you're going to connect it to this inlet, you're going to turn this valve right here. That'll get you running water in the RV the whole time you're there. Now the water tank will be full when you pick up the RV. You're more than welcome to use it all. You don't have to bring it back full if you don't want to. You are responsible for dumping the black and the gray tank before returning the RV to us. If you want us to take care of it, we can, but it is a $45 fee. If you're going to do it yourself, what you're going to do is you're going to pull out the switch hose there. You're going to connect it to this outlet right here, lock it into place, take the other end, stick it in the hole in the ground. Once you're all set up, you're going to pull the black valve first and let everything drain out. Then the gray valve second. Once it's empty, you're going to remove the hose. You're going to wash the hose inside and out before you put it back in. If you're no longer going to use the tanks, the toilet, the sink, then you're going to leave these valves open so we know you emptied it. If you bring it back to us with those valves pushed in, then we're going to assume you want us to empty it and charge you the $45. Regular gas, 87 only, please. No ethanol fuel, no diesel, just regular gas. The propane is another one you're responsible for. Before you're returning it to us, make sure you're back at the same level that you started with. We will have the tank either at 3/4 or full when you pick it up, so just make sure it's at the same level. If you don't bring it back at the same, then what we'll do is we'll charge you $1 more per gallon than the gas station does. Now most of the time you'll probably only use maybe 2 to 3 gallons tops, especially right now during the summer. If you're not running your furnace, you really won't be using a lot of propane. On the passenger side of the RV, you'll find a freshwater tank inlet. If you want to refill the tank, you're going to take the water hose, stick it into this inlet right here. You'll know it's 100% full when the water starts to come up from there. If you're running the water heater, stay clear of this. It does get very hot. There's a storage compartment here, storage compartment here too. You're more than welcome to use them. If you need to lock them, you can lock them with the small silver key and the keychain. I'm gonna go ahead and walk you through the interior now. When you first get to your RV, you're going to turn on the battery disconnect switch. You're going to leave it on for the rest of the trip. If at any point you lose power, first thing you want to check is that someone didn't accidentally turn this off. When you drop off the RV, if you're returning on a weekend, just please make sure you turn this off. To the right of the battery disconnect switch, you're going to find the control for the awning. If you hit extend, the awning goes out. Now, if it's windy or if it's raining, you're going to bring in the awning. Always bring it in at night and make sure you triple check before you drive away that the awning is in. You do not want to drive it into a tree or somebody else's RV. Before bringing the awning back in, make sure you move the door out of the way. If you don't do that, then the arm is going to get caught on the door. You hit retract, the awning comes back in. It'll stop on its own. Now, if the keys are in the ignition, the awning will not go in or out. It'll lock itself into place. This is a ceiling light switch. This one's the patio light. The control panel is located above the entry door. In order to put out the slide, first thing you need to do is you need to make sure your parking brake is set and the keys are in the ignition with the power on. Once you have that set out, you just press out and the slide out will go out. Okay, next part. From here you can control your water heater. You have an electric water heater and you have a gas water heater. If you go to a campsite that has power hookups, then you're going to be using the electric water heater. You're going to turn this one on as soon as you're hooked up. You can leave it running 24/7. That way you'll always have hot water. If you end up dry camping, then you're going to use your gas water heater. You're going to turn this one on 10 to 15 minutes before you need hot water. If you're not using the water heater, you're going to turn this one off so it's not burning up the propane. Water pump. If you're dry camping, then you're going to turn this one on whenever you need water in the shower, sink, or flush in the toilet. Now, if you're not using the water pump, then you're going to turn it off. If you're hooked up to city water, then you do not need to turn on the water pump. The water pressure from the city water will be enough to get it in here. These are light switches. Kitchen. And then right above these light switches, you have the battery level. So you should, if you're dry camping, always keep an eye on this. It should always be above 12 volts. If it drops too low, then what you're going to do is you're going to turn on your battery, your generator to recharge the batteries. The car will also charge the batteries when you're driving. Now, if you hook up to the campsite's power, then you do not need to worry about keeping an eye on the battery level because the power from the campsite's always going to be charging the batteries. From here, you can see your levels. So propane, it's reading full. Freshwater level, it's reading 1/3, but it'll be full when you pick it up. Black and gray. Now these black and gray sensors are not very accurate. Sometimes people flush things down the toilet or throw some things down the sink. They're not supposed to. So things get stuck on the sensors. Might give you a false reading. Okay, don't worry too much about it. If you empty the tanks and you come back in here and it's still showing something. The last thing on this control panel that you need to know about is the start and stop for the generator. Your generator time is right here. In order to stop the generator, in order to start the generator, what you do is you're going to hold stop for about 2 to 3 seconds. And then you're going to hit start. If it doesn't want to start right away, just prime it a little bit more and just hold start till it starts. Now, before you start or stop the generator, just make sure that the AC unit is in the off position. You do not want to start the generator with the AC unit on. You'll know you have power once the microwave comes on. It means the generator kicked in, and now you can start using your appliances. Okay. For the TV, I have the remotes in here. Remember, if you want to use the TV, the power outlets, the central AC unit, or the microwave back here, your generator has to be on even if you're driving down the street, or you need to be plugged in to power at the campsite. There is a Blu-ray player here. You have some DVDs, you can bring some DVDs or Blu-rays. There you go. The TV is also a smart TV. So if you have Wi-Fi at the campsite, you can always hook it up to Wi-Fi and stream Netflix, Hulu, or whatever streaming service you guys have. You could always bring a laptop or a tablet with an HDMI cord and plug it into the back of the TV. Now for the AC unit, it's already going to be set to cold. If you want to turn it on, you're just going to go to the left. And on the cold side right here. So you can go low fan, medium fan, high fan. Now remember not to run the microwave and the AC unit at the same time. If you do that, what happens is you'll most likely trip the breaker either at the campsite, generator breaker, or the house breakers. If you do that, it's not a big deal. You just need to go and reset them, but best not to do it. If you want to shut off the AC, then you just go back to the black dot right here. And then if you want to shut off your generator, you're just going to hit stop. The refrigerator is automatic. It runs on propane and electricity. So whenever you have the generator on or you're hooked up to city power, this thing's going to be running off of electricity. If not, and you're dry camping, then this thing will be running on propane. What you're going to do is you're going to turn it on. You're going to set it to auto. Give it about 2 to 3 hours from now, from when you turn it on, for it to get cold. Very important thing for the fridge. Make sure you do not park the RV on a steep hill. If this thing is leaning too far back, too far forward, what happens, it shuts off. It takes about 6 to 8 hours to start back up. It's just to prevent any damages to the components. You do not need to be perfectly level. It's only when you're on a really steep hill that it does that. Stove works on propane. If you need to use it, turn this counterclockwise and then hit the sparker on the left. For sleeping space, you have the bunk above the cab. You can always take this off too if you need some headroom when you're going in and out. You have the dinette that turns into a bed. What you're going to do here is you're going to loosen this knob here. You're going to remove the top from the post, remove the post from the base. You're going to take this top and you're going to set it right here between the supports. Once you have that all set up, you're going to bring that cushion in the back and this long one right here and fill in the empty space. And last, you have your queen bed. Now the bed sheet is clean. You're more than welcome to use it. If not, you can take it off and stick it in one of the cabinets or throw something else on top of it. For the furnace, we're in the middle of the summer right now, so you probably won't need it, but when winter time comes around, what you're gonna do, there's a off and on button here. All you need to do is just turn it over to heat, and then you're gonna set your temperature. 68, 69 usually keeps the RV nice and warm. You don't need it, you're just gonna turn it off. For the sink, just remember if you need water in the sink, shower, flush in the toilet, make sure your water pump's on if you're dry camping. Okay, there's also a power outlet here with the reset for the GFI. If, let's say, you're running your generator or you're hooked up at the campsite, you already checked the breakers and you're still not getting power, just come over here and hit the reset button on there. And then for the toilet, before using it, you do need to fill it up with water. There's a flush valve right here. You're gonna pull it, water's gonna come out. That orange stuff, it's chemicals to keep the toilet smelling nice and fresh. And then if you pull it all the way, it'll flush the toilet. For the shower, there you go. And always remember, when you're traveling, you need to bring the slide back in. Park and brake on, keys in the ignition with the power on. You hit the in button and slide comes in. Now always make sure you have enough room on the outside to put the slide out, and make sure no one is sitting down on the couch before bringing it in. You don't want to add extra weight to this thing. and then it'll stop on its own. For the dash, you can find your gas level, fuel level up here, your miles right there. Dash AC. This is separate from the central AC in the back. You can use this while driving without needing to have the generator on. It does have a backup camera, so whenever you throw it in reverse, it'll automatically switch over to the backup camera. The parking brake is down there. Brake release is right here. Windshield wipers. And headlights. Now, you do get 100 miles per night, so let's say you have it for 3 nights, that means you have 300 miles included in the rental. If you go over that, it'll be 35 cents a mile. And then also the generator, you get 4 hours of generator time per night. If you go over that, it's $5 an hour.